Hey guys, True Review here. You might remember me from that one video I did recently. Well, here we have a video that's probably not going to be as good, and in keeping with that theme, here we have 10 games that weren't as good as the ones that came before. Alright then, go! Duke Nukem Forever! I'm reluctant to put on a game that I only talked about last week, but it is certainly deserving of this entry. Whilst I'll hold my hands up and say that I actually had some fun with this title, and I certainly don't take it seriously, I will admit that in comparison to where it came from, this title certainly does not hold up anywhere near Duke 3D. Duke 3D was one of the granddaddies of the 3D shooter era, standing alongside the likes of Doom, Quake and Wolfenstein 3D, and obviously a sequel was well and truly anticipated by the masses, that is us, but rarely is the hype ever met when the game actually does get released. The problem was that the finished article was lacking in even more than we first thought, and so here is Duke at number 10. Assassin's Creed 3! F**k this game. Assassin's Creed 1 was pretty good, if not incredibly repetitive and slow in places. Assassin's Creed 2 was, and is, still one of the best titles ever in my opinion. But from this point on, the series takes a very depressing turn for the worst. Brotherhood came out, which tried to top what Assassin's Creed 2 did, but ended up making it unnecessarily bloated. And then Revelations came out, which was just Ubisoft's excuse to earn some lunch money. Brotherhood wasn't bad, but wasn't great, and Revelations was just a waste of time. However, we were able to put aside our former notions because the next main entry was soon to come out. And what a load of shit that turned out to be. A game that hates you, with a bland main character surrounded by other bland main characters, in a game map where one place looks like the other, and with a pointless home management system where you have to help out everyone who moves in because no one is capable of doing anything themselves. At least the sailing was fun. But that just means that the only good part about Assassin's Creed 3 was the one part that wasn't Assassin's Creed. F**k this game. Perfect Dark Zero. Most of us will remember Perfect Dark as that Rare game, or should I say game by Rare, on the Nintendo 64, that got us playing as the secret agent Joanna Dark, as we go about blasting aliens away. Imagine future James Bond, but with aliens. But then Rare sold the rights to Microsoft, and Microsoft decided to release a sequel on their new Xbox 360 platform, and the result is what you'd expect when a developer sells a well-loved franchise to another developer who knows nothing about it. The sequel was bland, forgettable, and uninteresting. Figures. Lane Goodman. Stronghold 3! And another one I talked about recently. Okay, I'll put a bit of effort into it this time. Stronghold 1, 2 and Crusader 1 were fantastic games. There was plenty of options to choose from, customizable elements were involved, the GUI looked good, there was a decent single player mode which included 2 campaigns, one war based and one economy based, which actually included a driven narrative experience, where different characters were introduced and where different goals were imposed upon us to add to the dramatic setting that the game had set. Stronghold 3 on the other hand felt like it was rushed out the door. It didn't feel handcrafted like the last 3 were. It felt like the devs just wanted this one out as soon as possible so that they could make money, probably off the title alone. The single player campaign was lackluster, the GUI was god-awful, all the charm and character had been removed and replaced with nothing. It just felt like a hollow shell of what was once a good game, now abandoned and left to rot, and only for $29.99. What a bargain. Thief! And another one I talked about recently. I sense a theme going on here. Let's cut to the chase with this one. The Thief series' death began with the shutdown of Lookinglass Studios. Ironstorm did a very good job in my opinion, ready the dislikes and hateful comments, when it came to Thief Deadly Shadows, but it was obvious at that point that the Thief series was never going to be the same again. But since Ion went bust too, the Thief series had been picked up by another company because Eidos were interested in sloppy seconds. But by now, the idea of what makes a good Thief game, as according to the different developing companies, had been diluted and twisted, and now no one knows how to make a good Thief game anymore. I know some. Everyone who still remembers the original games, for fuck's sake. The latest one lacked almost any of the freedom that the previous games had, any of the fun that the previous games had, and it just felt so soulless. There are so many cases where AAA developers put out a new game and they're all like, "Whoa dude, this game is rad. It's so crazy that all of the cool kids are playing it. Buy your copy now and be as cool as us." But then we play it and it just fucking sucks. Thief certainly comes under this scenario. Super Mario Bros. 2. And another one that I talked about. Oh, sorry, I ended up putting that line on copy and paste and then forgot to... Yeah, never mind. Back in the day, a game came out called Super Mario Bros., but as far as I'm aware of, no one has really heard of this game, so it was kind of forgotten about. But when it came time to make a sequel, us dirty Westerners, apologies if you're not Western, in which case this doesn't apply to you, us dirty Westerners were considered not capable of playing the next one on the same level as the East had been. We were considered too dumb to play Super Mario Bros. 2, so instead we got a rehashed version of a different Japanese game, but with Mario shit plastered all over it. Super Mario Bros. 2 wasn't crap, let's put that out there right now, but it was a massive letdown in comparison to both what we had been playing before with the old title, and the fact that the East had the proper Super Mario Bros. 2 game, and were enjoying it, and laughing at us, and probably drinking from a Super Mario Bros. 2 mug that was filled with Westerners' tears. Resident Evil 5. 6 also counts here too, but I'm going to go with 5 to demonstrate my point. Resident Evil 4 was a risk, in that it did a lot of things differently than what its predecessors did, but ended up managing to pull everything off. It had a few things wrong with it, but all in all, it was good. Great atmosphere, a stupidly cheesy but likeable plot, and secret societies. Awesome! Then came Resi 5. Now I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you all that you can relax, because I'm not going to be accusing this game of racism. In fact, I never thought that that argument was any good. What I am going to be accusing this game of, however, is being shit. It brought over all the problems from Resi 4, and either did nothing to resolve them or just made them worse. You still can't shoot when moving, your inventory space has gotten even worse, Chris and Chev are an awful pair, the focus was on action, not horror, and all of the atmosphere that this series is well known for had completely disappeared. Remember how ominous and foreboding the location of the first game was? Yeah, too much. Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. The first Zelda game was another one I don't think many people have heard of. That was a joke, by the way. I'm just saying it now because I know someone is going to take it seriously and give me shit for it in the comments. It set a very high standard for future adventure games to work towards, and it showed us what video games could accomplish. The openness and freedom, the amount of secrets around... It felt like you were on a real adventure, and that every time you discovered a new secret, it felt like you were the first person to have ever found it. So then, the sequel. Well, a side-scrolling game that includes random encounters was possibly the last thing anyone was expecting. The game was incredibly unforgiving, the story had taken a knock, the map's layout was confusing, and I am error. Yeah... no. Bomberman Act 0. How do you f*** up Bomberman? No, seriously, how does one do that? The Bomberman formula is so clear and obvious that it would take a complete genius of a retard to f*** this one up. Introducing Bomberman Act 0, ladies and gentlemen. Now you can play a Bomberman level in third person. Doesn't that sound fun? That way you can have no f***ing idea what's going on around you. So you can throw out those obsolete tactics now, you won't need them. I remember Bomberman being quite funny with a childish sense of wackiness to it, so why have we replaced that with what looks like a Mass Effect's Day Off theme? It's been 1 week since you looked at me, got your hand to the side and said I'm angry. Dragon Age 2. Dragon Age Origins was like the best parts of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic and Baldur's Gate all rolled into one lovely RPG. The first game went down really well with the community, and rightfully so. Loads of lore, loads of skills, different combat classes to choose from, great and varied characters to form up your party, and an epic and fantastic narrative experience to hold it all together. Everything that's required for a great RPG. Unfortunately, the sequel forgot most of this but wanted to go ahead with it anyway. The characters are forgettable, the plot was almost non-existent. The first game felt like we'd just stepped into the most dangerous and epic period of the game's world. Dragon Age 2 in contrast felt like we'd been spawned in some back alleyways of some shithole city, and we end up staying there for most of the game. Dragon Age 2 is a master of tell don't show. It tells us that there is awesome stuff happening, and that the main character, Hawk, is the most important person alive, but then it fails to back any of this up. We're supposed to take its word that the main character has as much personality as a personality machine. I'm sorry, I've just got home from work, so I'm tired and out of materials here. But you seem to be forgetting that players have eyes, and if you tell the player one thing but then show them something else, then the player will make up his or her own mind about it. Now, as human beings, we tend not to agree on anything. However, there has been one occasion where humanity was finally brought together as a whole, and that was when we all realised that Dragon Age 2 was completely inferior to the first game. And so here we find it at number 1. And done. But if you happen to have as much personality as a personality machine, then like this video and subscribe to my channel. Also, there's some shit on Twitter. I don't know if any of that interests you, and there's loads more crap videos coming your way soon, so stay tuned for that. See ya!
Sometimes I think this life is killing me.